I'll just do a quick survey on, look, I've been working in energy for 30 years, so this explains my fascination with anything to do with energy. Thermal comfort in this building today, in this room today, who's feeling that they're a little too warm? I'm going to sit next to you. Who's feeling about right? Good, that's good. It's just me feeling a bit chilly in here, is that right? No, there's a few of us, okay. There we go, there we go. Look, it's a challenge, it's a challenge. Well, look, I was told 15 minutes, but better if you can do 10, so I'll see how I go. Oh, and I get the timer to go? Do I get that to work? Maybe it starts when I do this. Look, I'm going to talk about buildings for a sustainable future, and that's one of my favourite places on the planet. That's the Blue Gum Forest up in the Blue Mountains, so saved by just a few bushwalkers, thank goodness. Look, clearly not the future. There's a few people who are a bit confused, I think, about the future. But where to from here? We were told natural gas was going to be the bridge to the future. Sorry for the blurriness, but I'm probably one of the few people in the room that smiles when the energy prices go up. Is it just me? We've been told that energy was going to come down when the carbon price went away. Weren't we told that? And energy keeps going up. I give a little smile because every time the electricity prices and those gas prices go up there and the solar and the wind and the efficiency continue to fall, I just allow myself a little smile. Is this the future? Sorry, I didn't watch any films, unlike the other previous speakers. I'm sorry about that. It did remind me of some cartoons that I remember as a kid, and I'm going to be chatting to a few people afterwards who still remember the Jetsons, so that's good. The future back then, of course, was triggered by the fact that when I turned 6 in 1969, I sat down at school one day with all my friends and we watched black and white TV footage of man landing on the moon. So that was the future. That was the future. And we all thought we were going to be living like this. Why not? Quite attractive. But then, of course, glimpses of the future are here amongst us now. The buildings that we're in, sometimes too warm, sometimes too cold. The buildings that we have today are a glimpse of where we're headed, I think. Is this the future? I quite like the architectural flamboyance there of the daylighting system, but part of me says, well, photovoltaics and LEDs. Green walls, we were talking before about green walls. Are they the future? Stressed plants, perhaps, in a climate change world. Is this the future? Wind turbines on the buildings? Computational fluid dynamicists in today? Probably not, okay. If there were, they would tell me about turbulence in the city landscape and that the best place for wind turbines is out somewhere in the clear open field. So maybe not. Anyone recognise this building? Yeah. I'm going to upset the people who are big fans, but I'm not so sure. Maybe in very algae. Can we grow algae on our buildings and power our buildings from that? I'm not sure. Maybe there's a niche for everything. I was road testing some of my ideas with a friend, and he said, Alistair, you've got to have some diversity. So I guess I've got to allow interesting and wonderful ideas to be tried, and let's see. Let's be honest. Can we be honest about buildings and energy and the things that get tried? Tri-generation aficionados still left in Sydney? Dare I say it? That was the brave new world, wasn't it? 10 years ago? How quickly things change, how quickly things change. The bridge to the future was going to be gas, cogeneration, tri-generation. All the systems at my university get switched on for special occasions, not birthdays, not Christmas, peak demand, but still that's an awful lot of equipment sitting in someone's basement or up on the roof somewhere, gleaming, costing us a lot of money, but we're not running it. Well, energy. Fire and humans, we've been together for about 1 million years, they reckon. Sorry, no references here, but you know, someone on the web said that. Electricity. I don't know, the older I get, the closer the past seems. 150 years ago, we sort of started to tame electricity. And my goodness, so when I was born, about 50 years ago, a bit more now, it's only a third of the time that we've had electricity. The centenary of the incandescent light bulb occurred in 1979 and I was 13. So I think the future is electric. We're just starting to get used to this wonderful world of electricity. It's relatively recent. Fire, there's limits there, and we can talk about thermodynamics if anyone is interested, but perhaps it's just me. But the future, I think, well, the present and the future is electric and photovoltaics. This is the building that I work in, 6-star Green Star building. Very nice photovoltaics there. I think the architects did tick the Green Star box and get solar thermal panels up there that you might just be able to see. Ticking boxes to get points. Is that the best way to do design? Is that our future? Good energy systems, I think we need. We need to make sure they work, but rooftops, BMW in Germany. Any flat roof, I think will be covered in photovoltaics very, very soon. Very, very, very soon. Not coal. No one's going to be putting coal on those rooftops. Just in case we hadn't made that point clear enough. Look, anyone in the business of paying energy bills recently and noticed the recent price rises? Some colleagues of mine were telling me 6 months ago we started a project, better not mention names, just a student doing some work with someone in the city here working in energy. And I wanted them to have a bit of a look at photovoltaics on some of the roofs of their buildings. I said, oh, we'll look at the efficiency. We'll look at the efficiency. So that's what we were doing. 6 months later, one of the guys was away and came back. Now he's got my student looking at photovoltaics on the rooftops. That stampeding noise you hear is people rushing to avoid the recent price rises where sometimes wholesale prices, large users are paying 3 times more than they were. 3 times more than they were not so long ago. They're going from $40 a megawatt hour to $120 a megawatt hour. Solar on rooftops, it's cost effective now. Photovoltaics is the present and the future. Maybe not on every building. The canyons of our cities, is that the place where we put it? Oh, I kind of like that idea, but they suffer badly in shade. We can make them colourful. We can wrap them around the buildings, but on every building, maybe not. Should every building be zero energy? Look, zero energy buildings it's a lovely idea. Single story buildings, we can do big numbers of them and make them zero energy. 2-story buildings, maybe. 3 and 4. Multi-story buildings, high-rise buildings, zero energy. I'm not sure we need to. I'm not sure we need to anymore. The urgency was there. Like I said, well, look, when I said I allowed myself a little bit of a smile when the price of gas and electricity goes up, actually I grin like a maniac, right? It's probably not good for staying out of mental institutions, but I do allow myself the occasional grin when the electricity from fossil fuels is rising so quickly and the photovoltaic price and the wind is falling so rapidly. In my generous moments, I can understand why people who are in charge of energy policy are a little bit behind the times, because it does move very, very quickly. Broken Hill, big solar plants out there. 4 or 5 years ago, I thought, why are we going down this pathway now? That's years away. Not with the price of gas, not with the price of electricity. Even coal, keeping old plants alive, that's an expensive business. I was talking to a mate of mine who'd worked on some of the old coal plants that are wanting to be kept alive. He said they're held, all the pipes, all the pressure vessels are held together with old welding that needs to be repaired on a regular basis. Very expensive. But what about efficiency? Again, road testing some ideas, and I said, well, Alistair, if we can make all the buildings green by just buying solar power, we can build anything we want. Carte blanche. Got to be careful though, I think. Well, look, anyone recognise the interesting and wonderful wind-driven ventilation systems? Does anyone recognise them? BedZ? I think it's, you remember them? Look, ventilation systems, wind-driven, some people propose it for the city, yeah. Or do we go down the passive house route? Heat recovery ventilation systems. If the energy's low, why not? It used to be that high efficiency, it used to be that air conditioning systems in certain parts of the world, about when you talked about energy in buildings, air conditioning was the enemy, wasn't it? Passive buildings, natural ventilation, HVAC is the enemy. Well, I don't know, we've only had electricity for such a short period of time. We can actually make these things extremely efficient. We can actually make them now so that reverse cycle HVAC in Sydney, powered off PV, my place, can do heat 10 times cheaper than gas. 10 times cheaper than gas. They've just raised the price in Sydney. If you want the numbers, I can give you the numbers. It's 10 times cheaper for me to heat my home now. About 2 cents a kilowatt hour thermal. 9 times. 18 cents a kilowatt hour thermal for gas. Stop burning things, people. Electricity is so much smarter. It's here and it's now. We're going to stop burning things, particularly if they're black. Touching a little bit on the air conditioning. Do people know this building? Pompidou, thank you, yeah. I wasn't so much into large diameter ductwork when I visited there 20 years or so ago. I have to go back with a slide rule or a big ductwork is a good idea. Sorry, I'm full of numbers. 20% increase in the duct diameter saves 60% of the energy for the fan or the pump. 20% increase. So we're not going to steal too much of your floor space. Please, please, give those mechanical engineers a bit more space. Slightly bigger ductwork. You might say, pumps and fans, how much is that actually in terms of our energy? If you look at the studies, 50% of the energy that we expend on HVAC in commercial buildings, pumps and fans. What are those pumps and fans doing? Pushing air and water against friction. It was Douglas Adams, it was all resistance. Douglas Adams, wasn't it, who said resistance is useless? Friction is useless. So we need some big diameter fans. We need more efficient lighting. This is what we had in our house when I was born. My students thought it was that. They thought it was the candle. You may recognise some of your fellow office workers amongst the symbols there. But look, in my lifetime, lighting has changed so quickly. Not so long ago, I was talking to someone and we were talking about LEDs. In photovoltaics, efficient lighting, of course, was what we always used when we were in off-grid situations in the early days. Photovoltaics, batteries, efficient lighting. LEDs were, not so long ago, too expensive, too far away, and they're here and now. Why be efficient? Well, I would put forward that all the price rises that we've seen on electricity is all driven by bad buildings. Over the last 10, 15, 20 years, that increase that we've seen in electricity, why? Peak demand. Why? Because we build inefficient buildings that capture sunshine on hot summer days. That's what drives the size of our network. So if we ignore that and build and say, well, we're getting green power anyway, we will be paying for poles and wires. $50 billion is what we spent over recent years on poles and wires for a few hours of the year when it goes above 35 degrees in our capital cities. $50 billion, and you've got to recover it for a few hours of the year. 30 to 40% more capacity in our grid. Is that the future? Build anything you want, build the power systems to meet it, and push up power prices? I don't think so. My last slide. Go, credited that one. I quite like it. Can you see the solar panels? There they are, nicely integrated. Sorry, I'm an engineer, but I quite like that. It looks quite nice. But anyway. Thank you.